What's happening? Pod Squad. Welcome in to an episode of Stripe It Like It's Hot. Thank you for listening, for watching, for supporting, for commenting, for liking. Do all that stuff because it really legitimately does help. I forgot to put my phone off, so I'm going to put that on like Do Not Disturb. And I'm going to show you this today. This is, maybe you've seen this in one of our videos before if you're listening to the podcast. I have the McLaren MC21, I believe is the current model we're on. Love McLaren. Man, I'm a big F1 fan. And I brought it today, not just for studio decoration, which I sometimes do. I think Matt's a big fan of it as well. I brought it because, like many sports, when you watch F1, you can see like really cool intricacies of how it all works. And I just think it's the coolest thing ever. So, for example, you watch an F1 race, okay, there's 20 race cars going out, and you focus on, obviously, the cars and the drivers in the car, and that's your focus. But what happens behind the scenes of an F1 team is out of this world. And I think that's truthfully a big reason why I love it. There's so many people involved in these teams to make an F1 car go around a racetrack. It would blow your mind. Between like the crews in the pit stops, the crew in the marketing, the crew that handles the logistics, like we're talking like hundreds of people. This is not an exaggeration. Hundreds of people are a part of these F1 teams, all to support this car with Oscar Piastri in it. Go Oscar. He's currently leading the Drivers' Championship, by the way. Hundreds of people just to make this car go around the track faster than other people by like a tenth of a second. It's unbelievable. Now, I brought that today because there's something we can learn from this in our pavement businesses, and it's why you need to start to get out of the field if you are a business owner. Now, I'm feeling a little bit dangerous today. I'm just going to kind of go for it. Look, there's nothing wrong if currently right now you're a business owner and you're in the field ensuring that your seal coating and your striping and your paving jobs are going good. Okay. If you're like me and you started the company from nothing, you don't have another choice. Okay. And most of you listening, this is probably where you are at now or where you started, right? You started learning the skill as you went. Like nobody taught me how to stripe. I just figured it out as I went. And so you became ruthlessly good at doing the work in the field because you were the only one who could do it. You couldn't afford people with experience. And because it's your company, you put a lot of effort into it. And I think that's a fantastic thing. That's very noble. But what a lot of pavement owners don't realize, business owners, is when you start a business that way, you are effectively trading your time for money. And there's really no other way to do it when you start a business from nothing, but that's what you're doing. So think of it this way. If you were a house cleaner, okay, and your job was to clean houses, and let's say cleaning houses has a very low barrier to entry from a skill standpoint, okay? Even some of you like crusty old guys listening, like we could clean a house if we had to, right? Maybe we wouldn't be as good as some others, but we could clean a house. Now, if you started a cleaning business and let's say you could clean 3 houses a day, okay? So you're charging $100 a house, 3 houses a day. How do you grow and scale that business, right? Unless you can come up with some crazy way to automate the cleaning, like robot vacuums and robot mops. Like I'm sure there's little things you could do, but ultimately you are just simply trading your time for a low skill task that a homeowner doesn't want to do. That's why cleaners don't charge $200 an hour. It's because it's a low skill task, right? So if you wanted to grow and scale up a cleaning business, and believe me, across North America, there's like 8 and 9 figure cleaning companies out there. The only way you can do that as an owner is if you begin to hire. So in other words, you don't trade your time for money anymore. You invest in people who will trade their time for money in the form of a paycheck, but will return more money to you and the company in the form of profit. Now, I'm not trying to insult anyone's intelligence when I explain it that way, but I think, again, as pavement maintenance business owners, we just forget this. And so I'm speaking to the ones who would like to get out of the field, who are on every striping job, every seal coating job because they feel like they have to. But the reality is you don't have to. And in fact, the sooner you make peace with the fact that you will not be able to grow and scale until you have figured out how to effectively delegate being in the field to other people and not have you on the job, your growth is capped. It's that simple. So there's a lot of things that could prevent a business owner from getting out of the field. First of all, maybe they just don't want to. And truthfully, that's 100% fine. Chances are, if you're consuming, what episode is this, Matt? We're in like 6,000, one something. 115? I don't know. It's like 115 episodes later. You probably get the sense now that this content that we put out is not like, the podcast itself is not geared for like people introductory, like I'm thinking of starting a business. Yes, we do put out content for that on our YouTube channel in particular. But like, this is for the people listening. You probably want to grow and scale your business. Like it or not, even if you enjoy being out in the field, which even I love being out on a striping machine. The truth is, you will not be able to reach your growth potential as long as you are still trading your time in the field to do the service to collect the invoice. So, the thing I wanted to focus on here was a really simple 4D framework, okay? The 4D framework, which I'm going to get to in a second. Before I get into that, the way I've explained this before, when I work with clients one-on-one, or I've even talked about this at PaveX before in some speaking engagements, is imagine everything you do in your business as putting your time into a bucket. Okay. So if you're a business owner, you wear like, dude, so many hats, right? Like Matt's just getting his videography business going, and it's like bank accounts and taxes and like just crazy stuff that nobody really wants to do, but you have to do it, right? So in addition to striping or seal coating, you have to do quotes and invoicing and to a certain extent, probably some bookkeeping, and you have to do all the project scheduling. Like this, I've talked about this before, right? You have to do so many things, and a business owner takes that for granted sometimes because this is how they started. They're the only person who can do this stuff, right? And you don't make a ton of money when you start, so you can't go hire it out. But if you were to put a dollar value on every task you did, and you were to put it into one of $3 buckets, okay? So you have bucket number 1, which has $10 an hour, okay? Bucket number 2, which is $100 an hour, and then your third bucket, $1,000 an hour. So if you were to think about all the things that you do in your business, you were to like write it out on a list even and assign every single thing into one of those buckets, how much of your time is being put into the $10 an hour bucket? The reason I bring this up is because there's so many things that could be outsourced or delegated to by hiring someone that would fall into that $10 an hour bucket. Now, the $10 an hour bucket does not mean you have to pay someone $10 an hour, obviously. It just means this is the lower end tasks, the more administrative type tasks that have to be done in the business. You cannot not do these things. But these are the things that you want to start getting out of as a business owner as soon as possible, right? You're invoicing, scheduling, even answering emails. Like these are all things that you could have delegated to an employee so that you, instead of you putting your time into those buckets, you can put your time into a more expensive bucket. One of the tasks that falls in to a $10 an hour bucket in a striping and seal coating business is actually working in the field, which like I've actually had discussions with people about this at conferences from small business owners who are like, you are wrong. I had one guy tell me that. The first time I ever spoke actually was at like National Pavement Expo, and somebody told me, you're wrong. Like you can't, he said, you can't explain to me like why me being out in the field striping is only worth $10 an hour. Dude, I could make like $2,000, $3,000 a day striping. So that means my time's worth like, $200 an hour. It's not 10. Unfortunately, he's wrong because yes, even though you as a business owner could go into the field for an 8 to 10 hour shift and potentially do $2,000 of revenue. Do you know who else could do that same work in 8 to 10 hours? An employee who you don't have to pay the same amount that you pay yourself. Imagine what it would be like if you could clone yourself, okay? And I'm bringing this up specifically in the context of getting out of the field, okay? If you could clone yourself and the abilities that you had to stripe and seal and patch and all the things that you do in your pavement business, and you could send your clone out to the job site for you. So whether that's 2 jobs a week, 4 jobs a week, 10, it doesn't matter. What would you do with all your time that you have? Because you wouldn't be worried about the quality at that point because you just cloned yourself. So you know the work is going to be fine. What would you do with all of your time? Hopefully you wouldn't invest it into like really low ROI type activities that aren't really going to grow the business. Or maybe you do. Maybe you just take like the time off and you're just like, I have somebody working for me, and you just kick your feet up, right? This is what effective hiring and employees can do. They can get you out of the field so that you can focus on growing the business or not burning yourself out, which is really, unfortunately, especially in the summer, what a lot of pavement business owners do because they haven't figured out how to delegate and get out of the field. There's so many things you could do that would be better suited for you. And it really sucks because what a lot of business owners end up doing, and you'll see this time and time again on Facebook, man, like business owners wear it like a badge of honor that they work 70, 80, 90 hours a week. And at that point, honestly, you're just trading your time for money. You just have a job. Like you're not doing anything different than the house cleaner, but instead of cleaning 3 houses a week or 3 houses a day, you're cleaning 6. And you're wearing that like, I work so hard. Well, that's awesome. But if you're working so hard at the $10 an hour bucket, it's not really going to move the needle. And it not only is it not going to move the needle for growing the business, you're going to tire yourself out because you won't have time to do all the other meaningful activities. For example, things that you could put in that $100 an hour bucket would be outbound sales work, like trying to find new business, driving new business opportunities, starting some marketing campaigns, getting more active on a social media or a newsletter, or starting a podcast, like something that's going to draw more marketing focus to your business that will feed the machine so that you can have more work in the field, right? Developing training programs for employees, right? That's a huge one. A lot of business owners hold back from getting out of the field because they're like, well, no one can stripe as good as I can. And they haven't put in the time to create a training program or a system so that they could train people to do that for them because they feel like they're too busy or no one will do it better than me. Well, if you invest the time into creating a training program, I can assure you that people who are way less intelligent than you have figured this out on how to train people to do this for them. And maybe they won't be ever as like perfectly good as you are, but they'll be really, really close. And ultimately, your job as a business owner, in my opinion, find someone who can do the thing that you do, but even better than you can. Because if you can find that person, your business will really take off. Your spreadsheets and your systems for your business suck, and you might be losing a ton of money in your paving or your pavement maintenance business. Look, our company recently switched to OneCrew, and it is the only industry-specific, all-in-one platform for paving companies, for pavement maintenance companies, striping companies. It doesn't matter if it's like the sales cycle or if you're estimating or even if you're trying to manage your crew, OneCrew has features for all of that. It is unbelievably effective. So if right now you're doing a lot of your estimating on spreadsheets and at the end of the day or the end of the year, you don't even know if you're making a lot of money, I guarantee you OneCrew will help you. It is so easy to make more money with this software. You'll love it. Here's the best part. Listeners of this show get $500 off of the setup fee if you go to getonecrew.com/stripeit. $500 off of your setup fee. Take a free demo and have a look for yourself, man. getonecrew.com/stripeit. And then there's even like $1,000 an hour tasks, things that like really, really help growing your business, right? Attending like high level networking events and conferences, working with a business coach, things that a lot of business owners push to the side because they're so focused on trying to get the jobs done in the field. I'm telling you, man, if you can get out of the field, even to like a reasonable degree, you don't have to like get out of there today and just rip the Band-Aid off, but like if you could even just cut your time in half and have a crew, like just do some of those easier sealing and striping jobs for you, your business will have no choice but to grow, or you'll just be able to, not kill yourself, and you can put your feet up and you can have a business that's not entirely 100% reliant on you, which I will reemphasize is you just having a job. Okay. It's that simple. So let's talk about the 4D framework. I love this one. Discover, document, delegate, and develop. Okay. So this framework is for you, the listener, if you have a business where you're still in the field a lot. Okay. How do you get out of it? Step one, you got to discover. So discover two things, in my opinion, right? You want to discover what are the things that only I can do right now, and what are the things that I could have someone else do for me, even if it's not quite as good as the way I can do it. One of my favorite books, one of my favorite authors is Dan Martell. He wrote an incredible book, Buy Back Your Time. I think we mentioned it recently on like one of my favorite books, shorts we did. But anyways, Dan Martell wrote in his book, 80% done is 100% awesome. That's like one of his life principles. And what he means by that is if you can get someone to do a job, even as 80% as fast or 80% as good as you, it's probably like going to work out just fine. So that doesn't mean that like only 80% of the lines are going to be straight. But what that means is, maybe that striping job that you can do in 6 hours, maybe somebody takes 8. That's not the end of the world, because that's still going to get you those 6 hours back that you could reinvest into the more expensive buckets. So step one is you got to discover, okay? Discover not just working in the field. Absolutely, that's a big one. But is there any other things in your business that you don't have to do? What do I need to do? What could I offload? If you're a really small business, you probably can't hire someone in sales, right? Or it'd be a big risk, to say the least. So maybe that's something you have to do. But in order to do more of that thing to grow the business, you let go of working in the field, right? So that's number one, discover. Number two is document. And this is the part where I think a lot of business owners just give up. Or they try to get out of working in the field, but they haven't done document, and so they have problems, and then they get really annoyed, and then they complain about it on Facebook, and then Matt and I read the comments and we laugh about it. In order to successfully train someone, you have to have it documented what their job looks like. So common situation that happens, especially in striping, you hire someone, they come into the field with you, and as long as you're there, kind of hovering over, watching, right, things go smooth, right? Because you're going to see an employee on your job site, if they start to mess up right away, like you're going to catch it. If somebody's laying out a brand new parking lot and your employee has measured it wrong, you're not going to let them stripe it wrong. You're going to stop them. And you're going to say, whoa, 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 whoa. That's not how you do that. You actually have to do it this way, right? So as long as you're there, it's totally fine. But what happens, and this is why Matt and I laugh at comments, is because business owners get really annoyed and frustrated when they leave the job site and then all of a sudden the job doesn't go right. And they get annoyed because they say, employee, I stinking told you how to do this. Why are you doing it this way? But other than them telling them or maybe showing them a couple times, there's nothing documented. Okay. So documented could be like literally like something written down and printed on paper, which I hate paper, but you could write standard operating procedures on paper. This is how you lay out new parking stalls step by step. And you're not going to give that document to a new employee and then have them like read it and then like, hey, you're all trained. No, you have to actually train them too. But what trips up most business owners in this industry, I'm telling you, I've seen it time and time and time again. I work with companies one-on-one who have this issue. They haven't documented it. So maybe it's written. Maybe it's video training. That's a super important one because video training captures attention. Whatever it looks like for you, document it. I will give you my 30-second like voice message hack using ChatGPT to make this way simpler. Instead of you sitting there at a computer, Mr. Business Owner or Mr. Businesswoman, and sitting there typing up this long document, this is how we restripe a parking lot. Nobody wants to do that. It's the worst. Instead, grab your phone, open up a voice note, and record into a voice message, like literally talk to yourself, how you're doing the thing that you're doing step by step. So maybe it's, this is how I set up the machine to stripe. Maybe this is how I clean out the sealer out of the tank. This is how I hook up the truck to the trailer. Like literally voice message it. When you're done, you can take that voice message, get it transcribed on a website that transcribes voice messages for free. It's going to give you this long transcript. Then you take that transcript and you plunk it into ChatGPT and you say, here you go. This is how I hook up a truck to a trailer. Make this into a step-by-step document for me. And it will very quickly go boom, 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 boom. 8 steps. This is how you do it. And from there, you can just edit it and tweak it as you need to. But it will save you a ton of time. Documenting, so important. Number 3 is delegating. Okay, so you discover what you need to do, you've documented it, now you actually have to delegate it. And there are business owners who get tripped up at this as well. I can be guilty of this too if I'm not careful. Like you've shown someone how to do it, you've documented it, but you still feel that internal urge to like get in there, right? And you feel like you have to kind of watch over. Don't do that. Delegate it out. Start with those low dollar tasks, such as working in the field. Okay. Start building your repertoire of like how-to documents. You don't have to do it all at once either. Next time you go out on a striping job and you're painting a curb, like stop for 3 minutes and explain into your voice note how you're painting the curb, right? Start building up that repertoire so that when the time comes, you can delegate it. When you have that training video or that document, you can go through it with your employees and show them and be like, when I'm not here, this is how you're going to do it. That's a really effective way for delegation. And then the 4th point is develop. So this is one I really, really messed up. So when we started growing the company really quickly in like 2021, 22, like I got out of the field very quickly. It was a very like abrupt change. It wasn't this slow, gradual change. I just basically wasn't in the field anymore. Like even saying it out loud, I'm like, man, that happened really fast. It was crazy. What can happen though is in my case, I didn't continue to take the time to develop the people. So I showed them how to do things. I had SOPs written and I kind of just let them at it and said, good luck. Hope you do great on the next striping job. And what happens is you have a lot of quality issues. You can, if you're not continuing to develop your people. So again, this is something that we're working on even now because we have new employees this year. Some of our operations team are not as experienced in the striping in particular. They have more experience in like concrete and asphalt. So I'm still making sure that I can literally block time my calendar as needed and coordinate with my operations people. When do you need on-site training? When can I be there to show them something new? There's people on our striping crew that haven't used some of the specialized attachments we have. Or maybe they've seen the laser, but they haven't actually got the chance to calibrate it. And maybe there's an opportunity where I can show them a couple quick tricks in the field to make it easier. Don't stop doing those things. I don't think most business owners would have that problem, truthfully. I think most people are probably like micromanagers, especially in this industry. I was not that way. I am so not a micromanager, like crazy. Like I have no problem letting people do things their own way to an extent, and that can get you in trouble, right? So you got to make sure that you are there developing your people. So that's the 4 Ds: discover, document, delegate, and develop. So I'm going to end this on a high note. I got free stuff to give away. Free stuff. It's like a cheat sheet, like a training guide. All you have to do if you're listening to this episode, send me a DM. That's all you got to do. Send a DM. Don't care where. Literally, don't email. I used to say email. I'm getting off of email now. I'm getting old and cranky and I don't check emails much. I have somebody who helps me with my email now. No, send me a DM on LinkedIn, Facebook, even Instagram. I'm not a big Instagram guy, but Matt and I are on there. We'll check it. We'll see it. Send us a DM. And if you're looking for help on how to get out of the field, just send me a DM and say, help get out of the field. I should have came up with like a catchy buzzword. I'm sorry, Matt. I was like, help get out. Just say help or out. Just say something. Say you listen to this episode. And what I'll do is I will hook you up with a resource that will really help you as you try to figure out what those tasks are that you could start to offload so that you could reinvest your time into that 4D framework and you getting out of the field so that you can grow your business, or kick your feet up because you work too much. It's only May though. I don't know. You're probably not working hard enough yet. Keep going. All right, that's it. Keep your stripes hot. Thank you guys for listening, watching, supporting. Don't forget to like and subscribe and comment. We really appreciate the support. If you want that resource, send me a DM on LinkedIn or Facebook or Insta, and we'll talk to you next week. Go McLaren. Go McLaren. Sweet. Salty.